Welcome back to Through the Roof. I'm your host, Robert Morris.
And I installed my metal roof 2 years ago, and I gotta say, it's aging beautifully.
I'm not going to be able to get over that. All right, welcome back to another episode of Through the Roof, a consumer-focused podcast where we talk about all things residential metal roofing. I'm your host, Mason Burchett. I'm back in the booth here with my co-host, Adam Clark. Adam?
Yoda best.
Nah. Like that?
He has a mug that says Yoda best.
I'm showing it to the camera right now.
Yeah.
If you're just listening to this, you're gonna have to watch the video. And my wife got me this, so shout out to her for giving me this Star Wars mug.
And I got this mug for myself, and it says "No one cares, work harder."
Yeah, you gave me one of those.
And then you left coffee in it for 6
I
months.
left coffee in it for 6 months, and I molded it and I threw it away. Also, the handle broke. It was just a complete catastrophe. But anyways, we won't talk about that anymore. What we will talk about is another somewhat myth.
We can call this a myth.
An unspoken myth.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually, I hear this one a lot in the industry. Not necessarily in our isolated part of it, maybe in the broader building materials industry for people that aren't really familiar with residential metal roofing. Metal roofing is just for barns. Is that true?
Yeah, that's definitely not true. Although I will say,
It is for barns.
it is for barns.
It's not just for barns.
I was raised in northern Vermont. That's dairy land up there. We've got more dairy cows than we have people.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Is that real?
That's for real. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it's like 500,000 people who live in the state of Vermont.
Wow.
Yeah. So Knoxville is literally twice as big.
What if the dairy cattle rise up and take over?
There's no stopping them. There's no stopping them. We'd have to call the National Guard, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I will say that I have a great appreciation for farmers and the agricultural industry in general, because I think that there is this need for them to be really innovative out of necessity. And when I was kind of thinking about this episode and what we'd be talking about, man, those guys were they're very ahead of their time. They wanted structures that were cost effective. They wanted structures that would last a long time and that wouldn't require a lot of maintenance. And I think that's where we saw a lot of farmers and people in that industry doing pole barns and steel buildings with metal roofing. That was my first experience with a metal roof, is installing some on a barn.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting to think about. Even though it's not just for barns, and that's the myth that we're trying to disprove, I think it does speak to the practicality of a system that a metal roofing system that farmers really saw a lot of value in, even hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, well, they saw value in it because it was easy to install and it lasted a long time. They knew they could put it on there and they didn't have to worry about it. Now, obviously, metal roofing technology has evolved over the decades, especially for residential metal roofing, that has made it more than just barn metal or barn tin. We've got a billboard that says "This ain't your grandpa's tin," because it has evolved. It's my favorite billboard. It has evolved over the decades. Fastener technology, the technology of the panel laps, the steel itself, the coatings, all of those things have gotten exponentially better to make this a top of the line residential roofing product. It's not just barn metal anymore.
Yeah, and I think the innovation has kind of complemented the demand for systems that are better and more reliable, longer lasting than asphalt shingles. So yeah, we've really seen technology in this industry improve, whether it's the steel, how it's milled, how effectively it's milled, whether it's the coatings and the paint systems, the Galvalume coatings, the zinc aluminum coating, whether it's the fasteners, the hardware, the different accessories. And it's growing so quickly that we see more and more people who are naturally, almost organically just being drawn to these conversations about, hey, how can I actually use that product? Is it practical for me to use it for my home? I see the value in it. Is that something that makes sense? And so, I think it's important for us to know that the residential roofing market is growing very, very quickly. It's gained almost 11 percentage points of the overall re-roofing residential market in the last 10 years.
Sheesh.
Which you think about what's the majority of the structures in our country?
Yeah.
It's homes, right? Residential roofing.
It's a big number.
And talking to people in the industry, that's not a trend that's about to change. And I think that more and more people, as they become familiar with the systems and they learn from people who are willing to share information, think that makes that change from a architectural shingle or from an asphalt shingle to a metal roof makes more and more sense.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about how much technology has changed in metal roofing systems. The old barn tin, the old barn metal, and still a lot of, I talked to a lot of people here in the mountains that still ask about why you don't put the screws in the top of the rib, because they remember, the 5V, and people are using lead nails and hitting them into the top so that water wouldn't filter down in there. And it's just, the technology's come such a long way. And even beyond that, I mean, Todd Miller shared a picture of their metal shingles on a barn, and holy cow, man! I mean, when you want to talk about barn tin, that was one of the most impressive barns I've ever. Can we get that on? Can we get that on there? The picture right now. There's actually nobody here. I'm just going to put it on and post editing.
We're the only ones in the booth.
But even that, man, the look of these. The way that people are making their barns look, people are living in their barns. They're making barn dominiums now, and they're trusting the advances in technology of these metal roofing products to make that possible.
Yeah, and I think, when you're talking about an agricultural application, a pole barn, sometimes there's this perception, well, I don't like that look. It's affordable, but I don't like that look. Well, there's a ton of value in a lot of the different products that are offered. You talked about the metal shingles, the steel shingles that are available, and they're more expensive. They're probably more for a high-end application, but people love them because they're so unique.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to give you a look that's just totally unique to any of the neighboring environment. And then you have something like standing seam, which standing seam has become really, really popular in environments that are a little more harsh, high wind. We see a lot of this down in Florida, where I'm from. Up in Vermont, we see a lot of it because you've got the snow loads and you've got the ice damming that can happen on the roofs because of the amount of snow you're exposed to. Here in the mountains in eastern Tennessee, we're experiencing more hail and tornadoes and all the stuff that kind of comes along with those types of extreme weather environments. And so we see a lot of standing seam here as well. But we think that any roofing system, any metal roofing system that is installed offers just a ton of value because of the longevity of the systems. And we found that even though there are some unique look advantages to the shingles and to the standing seam, when installed correctly, the through fasten systems offer very similar longevity, very similar water tightness compared to these other systems as well.
Yeah. I mean, and for the people that say they just don't like the way it looks, it's just pretty hurtful. And I take that personally.
And we'd love a chance to show you the versatility of the products that are available.
Yeah, but honestly, there's so much diversity in the metal roofing space. Like you said, the tough rib panel, which just looks great on modern architecture. It looks great on farmhouses. It looks great on log cabins. It looks great on traditional American home. I mean, literally, it's a versatile product. Standing seam, a concealed fastener, the metal shakes, the metal slate, the metal shingles. Metal roofing is coming for you. You cannot get away from it. There is literally a style that fits your
Don't
need.
resist it.
If you say you don't like the way it looks, you're not ready, because whatever look you like, there's probably a metal roof that looks like that. So you can't stop it. It's happening. So you know what, Adam? I think what we've proved here is that metal roofing is not just for barns.
It's not just your grandfather's tin.
Don't say grandfather.
Granddad's. What'd you say? Grandpa's.
Grandpa's. Grandpa's tin.
Yeah.
This isn't Vermont. This is Tennessee. So that'll do it. That'll do it for another episode of Through the Roof. And if you guys like what you're listening to, want to hear more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for us, or don't. It's a free country. You can do what you want.
That's right.